I finally did it. I took decades of tapes and slides and fading photographs and digitized every photo, every home movie, every scrap of film my family left behind. Then I rebuilt one ordinary school night from 1967. Not the birthday parties or the vacations, just the hours between getting home and lights out. Back then, we lived in a different world. Do you remember it? Well, this is what it felt like. Join me. Here you are, 1967 again. Look around. The screen door swings shut behind you, and the street disappears. Down the block, the bus is already gone. You can still smell it. Diesel and warm rubber in the spring air, fading fast. That sound meant school was over. This one means home has begun. It's a sound you'd recognize if you heard it today. Silence. Not the silence of emptiness, the silence of a house that is off. Your parents aren't home yet. No authority in the rooms. The furniture holds its position. The curtains don't move. The clock. The wall clock in the kitchen fills the vacuum the bus left behind. Not the refrigerator hum. Not the wind at the glass. The clock. School ran on bells. This runs on that tick. Same system, different room. Before you get to rest, the house asks for something. Shoes. Not sharp, automatic. The voice doesn't need to be in the room to say it. You toe them off, one, then the other, and line them up on the mat. Not the carpet, the mat. You didn't decide that. It was decided before you were old enough to question it. That's the gate. You're registered. The book bag. One shoulder at a time, onto the kitchen chair. Not the table, not the good chair, the kitchen chair. Before you've taken your jacket off, your hands are already inside it. This is where school becomes homework. The Pee-Chee folder. Golden yellow. Bent at one corner from riding against a textbook all day. The athletes on the front, basketball, tennis, baseball, don't look bothered by the crease. They never do. By 1967, they were in classrooms in every state. The reference tables printed inside, multiplication, measurement conversions, state capitals, were the closest thing a student had to a search engine. You didn't look things up. You carried them with you. The purple ink. A mimeographed worksheet. When you lift it to the light, it still gives off that sweet chemical smell. Methylated spirits and something else. Something that shouldn't be pleasant, but is. You never explained why you liked it. You just noticed it, the same way you did in the classroom when the pages came down the row. A pencil rolls out of the bag and stops against the sugar bowl. A locker key clinks against the tabletop, then goes quiet. The telephone. Heavy, black, on the wall where it always is. The address book beside it has small handwriting and crossed-out numbers. That's for later, if later allows it. How much homework? Some, you say, because you don't know yet, or because you do. Nobody asked how your day was. First, the day gets sorted. Before you get to rest, the house asks for proof. Sort first, then settle. You didn't invent that order. You inherited it, somewhere between the book bag and the kitchen chair. Even a snack has a system. The refrigerator opens with a soft exhale of cold air. You don't stand there long. Standing with the refrigerator open is its own small infraction. The cold isn't free. P-D-Q. Stirred into milk until it turns pink and too sweet. Or bread in the toaster, the lever down with a firm click, then silence while it works. You eat standing up because sitting feels like permission you haven't earned yet. From somewhere in the house. Don't spoil your appetite. Not an argument, a rule. Dinner is coming whether you're ready or not. The appetite has a schedule. Your mother is doing the math. Your hunger didn't set its own hours. You rinse the glass right away. Water hits glass, then the sink, then disappears. A dish towel hangs over the oven handle. You wipe your hands, even if they aren't wet. This kitchen doesn't like loose ends. You get a few minutes. Then the house starts collecting. It's 5-something. The sky outside is still light, but only just. There is a window between snack and homework that doesn't have a name. 45 minutes. Nobody scheduled it. You are technically unsupervised. This is the closest thing this school night has to open air. The air feels different on your face than it did an hour ago. The light has softened. The yard is turning into a darker shape. A bicycle against the Larsons' garage. Front wheel turned wrong, like it was dropped mid-motion by someone who heard their name called. A streetlight clicks on down the block. 1 second dark, the next second a pale circle on the pavement that wasn't there before. You know that feeling. You pick up the mail because it's on the way, and because it counts as helpful. Then the trash. The bag squeaks and smells, and you don't linger. Outside, you can hear televisions through walls. Faint voices from shows you'd recognize if you heard more. The invisible fence. You could walk to a friend's house, technically, but it's already there, humming, dinner time, homework, the specific way the house looks at you when you push past it. You know exactly where the line is. Not because anyone drew it, because you've been absorbing it for years. The neighborhood can see you out here. That's part of why it feels safe. It's also part of why it feels watched. That fence is probably still there. You feel it when you've stayed somewhere too long, or said something slightly past the line. You learned it here, on this porch, reading the light. You come back inside. The desk lamp is waiting. Homework doesn't wait for the right mood. The Tensor lamp clicks on and the light is immediate and specific. A 12-volt spotlight on a jointed metal arm. Hard white circle on the desk surface, and nothing else. The rest of the room falls away. Invented in 1960. Made studying look serious. That was part of the point. While that lamp was on, the desk was the only place in the world. The Pee-Chee opens again. The purple ink sheet on top because it's due first. A textbook opens with a soft crack of spine. The pencil squeaks when the point drags across the page. You erase. The eraser leaves crumbs like gray insects. You brush them away with the side of your hand, and they stick for a second before you flick them off. Show your work is not a suggestion. There are lines on the page for the work. You use them. Problems become a line to cross one at a time. 10 questions. 20. A paragraph to copy. A page to read and answer. If you stop, time shows itself. The clock in the hallway doesn't change its voice. You feel it anyway. The lamp hood gets hot after an hour. You know not to touch it from one specific time years ago when you touched it. Sometimes you catch yourself listening for footsteps, not because you're doing something wrong, but because being seen doing the work counts. Effort is visible here. That's the other assignment. Underneath the geometry book, a copy of Mad Magazine. This isn't a secret, exactly. You just haven't had to explain it yet. When the math is done and the reading is done, you'll find out if the night has any room left. Sometimes it does. Before you get to rest, the house asks for attention. You didn't call it focus. You just knew that while that lamp was on, the world shrank to one page at a time. 6 o'clock. Dinner isn't just food. It's a checkpoint. Your father has been home for 30 minutes. You heard the door, the specific sound of keys on the hook, the refrigerator opening and closing, a longer opening than a child's snack-sized one, a man coming home opening. The energy changes when he arrives, not dramatically, gravitationally. Wash up. Cold water first, then warm. Soap sharp and clean. Hands dried without wasting paper towels, because that matters here. The table. Plates down, forks placed, a napkin folded and waiting. Bread basket in the middle, butter dish, pale and heavy. Chairs pull back, wood against floor. People sit. There is a quiet rule about who sits where that nobody has ever stated aloud. Johnny Marzetti. Ground beef, noodles, tomato, baked until the edges brown. Steam hits your face when the lid comes off. A serving spoon clacks against the rim. Take what you'll eat. And underneath that, the other rule. You will finish it. The Clean Plate Club started in World War II. The war ended in 45. The rule didn't. The captain's table. Your father at one end, your mother at the other, you in between. Crew members know their role. Crew members eat what's served. The ship runs because everyone understands this without requiring it to be said. Forks begin. Plates make small sounds. A glass lifts and sets back down. Conversation stays inside safe lanes. School, weather, someone coming Saturday. Nobody tests the edges tonight. Elbows, someone says. You pull your arm back like you've touched something hot. You want to say something about your day. You're learning to read the table first. You hold it. Tonight you eat and listen. May I please be excused? Permission lands like a stamp. Before you get to rest, the house asks for quiet. You still do it. Walk into a room and listen before you talk. You learned that at a table where talking out of turn had a cost. You just don't remember learning it. The meal ends. The work doesn't. Ivory liquid. Hot water in the dishpan, a squeeze, and the water turns opaque. The smell is specific, soapy, slightly chemical. Every evening, it is always this smell. Plates scraped at the trash. Food slides off with a wet sound. A glass clinks another glass. Silverware clatters, then settles. A pot heavier than it looks. The chrome faucet squeaks when you turn it from hot to warm. It always does. You've never thought to mention it. You dry what you washed, or you wash what someone else dries. The roles were never assigned. They were just absorbed. Older sibling to younger, by some negotiation nobody remembers starting. Leftovers wrapped. A plate into the refrigerator on the second shelf. The leftovers shelf, always the second shelf. The counter wiped until it's ready again. Not clean for beauty. Clean for morning, so the next day doesn't start with last night still in the way. Before you get to rest, the house asks for one more thing. Your night is shrinking with every plate. You know this. You feel it in your hands while you dry. The people who taught you this probably never called it a life skill. They just called it dishes. Now the house allows entertainment on its terms. The television warms up before it shows you anything. You turn the channel knob, a firm click as it locks, and then you wait. The tube considers it. The image comes in at the edges first, gray and uncertain, then solidifies. Your family's set is still black and white. Color sets cost around $500 in 1967. 2 weeks of your father's take-home. The black and white set in this living room is not behind the times. It's exactly on schedule for what this house can afford. Your father's chair belongs to him the way certain things belong to certain people in this house. Never labeled, always understood. Volume stays low. The house doesn't stop listening just because the television is on. Then the phone rings. It doesn't ring politely. It cuts through, sharp from the hallway, through the television, through the wall. Someone pauses. Someone decides. The call is for you. You stand up fast. You take the receiver and say it the right way. Hello, this is... And you give your name like it matters. Then, may I please speak to... Because you're not calling a friend's room. You're calling their house. A parent may have answered. You conduct yourself accordingly. The stretch. The coiled cord from handset to base. The straight cord from base to wall. You take the base and walk toward the hallway, toward any corner that offers the feeling of privacy. The cord goes taut. You feel the limit in your wrist. 6 feet, maybe. That's the tether. Privacy wasn't assumed in 1967. It was negotiated. Roughly a third of households still shared circuits, party lines where a neighbor could pick up and listen. You kept your voice down even when the hallway was empty. You closed the door on the wire. Cord running under the gap, door pressed shut over it. For a few minutes you have something that resembles a private conversation, but your voice still carries. The walls in this house are not insulated for teenagers. You talk quick. You listen for footsteps. Before you get to rest, the house asks for permission. The cord was 6 feet. That's how much of your social life the house would hold at one time. The night closes the same way it started, by narrowing. By 8:30, the night has one checkpoint left. All right? In the tone that means the gate is closing. The television goes dark. The room looks suddenly larger without it. The bathroom light buzzes when it comes on, fluorescent, overhead, slightly blue. It shows you everything. Towel on the rack, medicine cabinet with its metal latch, tub with the rubber mat that doesn't move. This light doesn't flatter. It accounts. Phisohex. Medicinal. Not a soap you chose, a soap that works. Cold water first, then warm. Toothpaste sharp and strong. The sink swallows the day. Dippity-Do. Pink jar, cold as gelatin. You work it through damp hair, then the curlers. Hard plastic, wound tight, pinned against the scalp. You'll sleep on these. You'll wake up with the marks. That's the cost of the style. You made the trade without being asked. The bathroom is shared. Someone is waiting. You are never slow in here. The hallway dims, your parents turning things off, one switch at a time. The living room quieter, the television sound lower. The house preparing itself. Your room. The pajamas drawer opens with the resistance it always has. The bed already made from this morning. You pull back the spread and the sheet together. The bedside lamp clicks on. Amber, small, softer than the bathroom, softer than the Tensor lamp. This is the first light tonight that doesn't ask anything of you. The West clock's baby Ben. On the nightstand, already set. In the dark, its hands glow green. The specific luminescent green of alarm clocks from this era. A color that exists nowhere else. You know what time you'll see when the light goes out. A floorboard creaks once in the hallway. Your parents' voices low behind their door, then quiet. A car passes, and its headlights slide across the ceiling like a slow wave. Then nothing. Under the pillow, the transistor radio. Palm-sized, battery-powered, it fits in one hand. Nobody knows it's there. You don't turn it on right away. You wait until the house settles, until the footsteps stop, until the line of light under your parents' door goes dark. Then you press the button. Static first, then a signal. Thin, buzzing, AM at night, stations drifting in from 2 states over. Somewhere in the static, the song. You turn the dial a fraction. There. Nobody knows you're awake. This is the only time tonight that belongs entirely to you. You paid every cost this night asked for. Sorted the papers, did the work under the lamp, finished your plate, rinsed the glass, wiped the counter. And now, this. Before you get to rest, the house asks for the last light. You reach out and click it off. Darkness lands. The refrigerator hums far away, steady as a heartbeat. The clock measures what's left. The screen door, somewhere in its frame, settles against the night. That's why silence still feels like something you earned. Not a default, a reward. The world went quiet and stayed quiet until morning. Some part of you is still waiting for that. The day is not drifting away. It is closing, on purpose. There was a finish line. You knew where it was. You knew what it cost to reach it. We didn't have freedom, but we had a finish line. When the lights went out, the world stopped. You weren't drifting tonight. You were moving through gates. Think about the last time the world went quiet on purpose, and whether it still does.